An added bonus for module 3 is that I actually wrote down some properties that I actually did deals on. And to just, every one of them was all different. I don't believe that any of them were two were ever the same. So one property I was able to pick up because I found out that the zoning was able to build 2 duplexes on it. I had put the offer in with the owner for 317. I had went to the city. I did my homework. I found out what was able to be done. I did 0 on the property. The property needed a lot of work, probably about maybe 50 to maybe 80, maybe 100, depending on the market. We'll say $100,000 maybe worth of work to just fix the house that was on it. I did nothing to it. I simply put it back on MLS. And I was able to sell that property for $475,000. So that was almost a profit of $160,000 less real estate commissions. There was another property that I picked up, interesting, 25 city work orders from plumbing, electrical to foundation to windows, structural. The lower unit of this triplex was actually dirt. I mean dirt, land, dirt, and it needed absolutely everything. It needed furnaces. It needed everything. And they wanted the property condemned. So I went in there and I went to the seller and I said, okay, guess what? I will take on this property. I want 1 year, no payments, no interest. And any profits that I make as I'm renting the units, I want to be able to keep. He said, no problem. I was able to negotiate the deal for $100,000. I was able to take all the profits that I got, because as soon as I went in there, I replaced all the windows. I think there was 33 windows or something like that. Then what I did is I went in and I put furnaces in because there was actually someone living in the one unit. Scary, but yes. And then the second unit was easier to get done. The third one with the dirt floor, that was my last project, but I hurried up and started renting out the top one. I hurried up and started renting out the second one so that I could focus on the lower unit. And I was able to not only profit from that, also be able to refinance it because it was also worth, I believe at the time it was $127,000. So I was able to go to the bank, refinance it, and cash flow the property. So that was another way of doing it with no money down as far as what the seller financing goes, 100% financing. All I had to do was get the repair money. Another property, what I did was that this lady needed to sell her home. She owned 2 of them. And what I had said to her was, well, instead of me buying it cash today, because the market was down, which we're coming into a down market. This is November of 2022. We're in a down market. So what I had said to her was, I said, okay, how about we do an extended closing date of 7 years? You keep up the mortgage, you keep up the insurance, you make sure that the taxes are taken care of. I will pay you that, whatever that totaled out to. I think it was at the time, maybe $750 a month. I made sure that I was going to pay her $750 a month. What I did was I found a rent-to-own tenant for $895 a month who gave me $5,000 down. I had 7 years to be able to prune and work with that particular rent-to-own. So I went through, I think, 3 or 4 rent-to-own people. That's a whole other topic. But the point being is that went through the rent-to-own people. The market came up. I was able to sell that, picked up that property. I think it was for $89,000 plus every month when I paid that mortgage payment, it went down in principal. So I originally purchased it for 89, but 7 years later, I think it was worth, I think the paperwork was maybe $70,000, $75,000. The bottom line is when I went to sell it, I think I sold it for $135,000. I now made $60,000 on a property that I didn't have to approve at the bank. I didn't have to get my credit checked. I didn't have to put any down payment, absolutely nothing. And the property needed 0 maintenance. The house was beautiful from the get-go. Didn't need anything. It might have been vacant a couple of times where I had to shell out $750. The bottom line was that was a sweetheart of a deal when all I had to do was just keep a tenant in there that was a rent to own, a higher caliber of a tenant. So that was exciting too. There was one property I actually used a pay-per-click. And I was able to acquire this property. I went in there, I did a little bit of work. I did a lot of cleanup. The yard, I needed, I think it was 10 40-yard bins where they had to pick up all the garbage in the yard, was actually with like dump trucks and scoops, and I'm not sure what you call them, but all those things that pick up garbage and put them in dumpsters. So I think there was about 10 40-yard bins. And I was able to pick up that property for It was $253,000. I was able to sell it off market to a private buyer for $380,000. So again, that took, I think 4 months to be able to make that one happen. So there was another opportunity as well. Oh, joint venture money partner. That what he did is that he put up all the money. I made sure that I coordinated everything to be able to go with it and get the worker there to do some of the work there. There was another property, they wanted $35,000. I went to the seller and it needed everything. And I said to the seller, okay, great, you finance me and I will take on this project. So I was able to go in there, pick it up for $35,000, no money down. Vendor held the mortgage on it. I went in, I did the work. I was able to sell that property for $125,000. I think I put maybe $60,000 into it. So again, that was a major renovation. Another property, we call this house hacking, is that what you do is that you can actually own or occupy the property, and you can possibly make a separate entrance where you can have a mother-in-law suite, and you can even rent out rooms. So that was one of the other projects that I had done, was that I was able to rent out rooms in the house that I was living in. And I was also able to rent out a mother-in-law suite as well. So that's really good for anybody who's looking for a buy and hold. You're trying to buy time as an investor, or even if that's all that you get out of my program and you're able to go do something like that, that's the way to go too. A not so good project that we went to is that I didn't do my due diligence. I didn't get the inspections. I was trying to close the deal quicker. So I missed the fact that the foundation was completely crumbling underneath the house in the crawl space. So I completely missed that. I got this contractor that I had been dealing with for almost 6 months and talking to him back and forth on the phone. Really thought there was a rapport, so I didn't do any more due diligence. I didn't check if he was with the Better Business Bureau. I didn't ask him for contacts, anybody to contact to verify him. He ended up doing some of the work, getting all of the money. Therefore, I was owed $40,000. Gives you another good example. And then I basically had to sell the property, even though the project took well over, I think it was just over a year to get it completed. And to top it off, I had to still hire people to be able to finish the job that they were supposed to start. So it was just an absolute nightmare. I barely got out of that deal. I believe I just broke even, or I just might have lost a little bit of money. I don't like focusing on those, but you know what? I'm just going to let you know that even myself, a seasoned investor, if I skip steps, there's a good chance that that's what's going to happen. So I'm just letting you know that, I'm definitely not flawless as far as that goes either. Another one, bought a hotel. There was commercial, there was storage units, went in with a bunch of joint venture money partners, went in on the property, picked it up for 1.39. Was able to, within a very short period of time, within 6 months, got other money partners, went for private money, paid a lot of interest on this money, did the deal, did some renovations, and sitting on an appraisal of $3.3 million. So it just goes to show you again, is that doesn't matter how much interest you're paying, you're going to need hard money. You're going to need joint venture partners. You're going to need joint venture money partners. So again, that's where the module 1 was so important with creating that A team, is going out and talking to as many people as that you can. Those are the advantages. There was also a multi-unit residential. I was involved with that with joint venture money partners. We all put in a bit of money. We were able to take that property, pick it up for 1.2 million, put about $400,000 worth of renovations, sold it for 2.2 in 24 months. And that was in the middle of the pandemic. So it just goes to show you, again, the A team, getting your team together, creating the deals, creating the opportunities, and they show up. So I'll see you on module 4.